So, I mean, the fact that the situation here is very similar, the Eight of Swords kind of being all in your thoughts. This is a past energy, so this is good. You've already kind of broke out of the, your mental cage, feeling the free life, and then you got the moon in the future. It's like, will you return back to this, or will you ride out the waves? You know what I mean? Hold on to that Pisces energy, or somehow glide with the Pisces energy that you got right now. It's a difficult situation. Well, it's not. It's only difficult because as an air sign, you're thinking a lot of the time. This is definitely requiring you to trust without any facts, without using any calculations. Even if your calculations do say yes, okay. This could possibly happen, whatever possible. This is all about faith, and that's the hardest thing when you have all of this logic and you got to tell it to shut the hell up so you can do what you want to do and go about your dreams, even if that means you don't really know the outcome of it. And I don't see the moon as really anything scary, because I never ever see the moon scary. I mean, the thing is that the moon always brings up a lot of our fears and insecurities and all that. But I do feel like what the moon's definitely talking about here is, for real, there's no way to know what you're gonna, how things are gonna turn out, what you may do in the moment. It's all about trusting yourself and knowing that you'll be able to handle whatever happens in the moon. Facing a lot of your fears, facing a lot of your doubts and insecurities. I think before we saw a lot of excuses, or a lot of situations where there was a lot of reasons to not do something, reasons to, feel like you can't budge in some areas. This is now about facing what these thoughts were, I feel like. With the courage that you got here with the Knight of Wands, I feel like that's y'all. Going in, having a lot more fun, feeling more free, feeling less bound, feeling like you can do whatever you want, doing anything you can. But it starts as well, I feel like, while we have a break from this and we start to see our real selves come out, I feel like we'll get, not tried again, but, something never, especially with these mindsets, they come to us, they've been with us for a long time. Because obviously, look at how long it takes. You're the 8th step in the swords, the sword suit. So it's like, I feel like this has been brewing for some time. So of course, looking back at them and seeing them and having compassion with this energy is going. I feel like that's what's the difference between this. Like, what your insecurities are here. It's just like it makes you feel like you can't do nothing. Now you feel like you can do whatever you want. And I feel like those fears, whatever this was in the past, come back up, but you have a lot more compassion in this moment. That's what I feel like. You have a lot more compassion, more understanding. You're not as freaked out by what about possibilities, in this situation. I feel like just because of how the underlying energy, but the heart of the reading looks. Look at this heart of the reading, the Queen of Pentacles. Y'all holding it down. Stabilize yourself. You are creating your own foundation, and you're gaining your self-worth by looking at what you can do and what really is stopping you. I feel like you guys are literally aware of what this Eight of Swords was, and you literally took the flame from this one and burnt the hell out of this. You're like, hell no, this ain't my life. That's what it looks like right here. It looks like this ain't your life, right? This looks like you are not going to be tamed by any sort of doubt, any sort of anything. Like, you are free. You are feeling the freedom. And even though you're coming up as the Queen of Pentacles, which is not necessarily all about that free life, you know that this groundedness that you have for yourself, that is what sets you free. The real facts, that the understanding that you have the ability of the Queen of Pentacles to manifest what you want. Yes, it may take a little time, but as long as you remain consistent and be true to yourself, you're good to go. Right? I feel like this is what it is. Like, what's real, what's what you value. And therefore, that was what makes you feel like there's nothing that keeps you, because there's literally nothing that keeps you here. And I feel like that awareness is because you're looking at the facts. You're focusing on what's real and what wasn't. The Eight of Pentacles is a really big card in this reading, because I feel like you guys are definitely focusing, and you have been focusing, and you are focusing on what is the most important right now, which has to do with you. What you're working on, relationships wise, right? And I know that I'm supposed to be reading this as a love reading, and this is still a love reading, but I feel like this is very much a self-empowerment reading. Just by the way this looks, it's like you've gotten a handle on yourself in regards to what you want to do, what you feel is worthy of you. And I feel like if this is if this is regarding to someone else, then maybe this may have felt like you guys were in the dark at some periods, or maybe this person, you're ready to commit, ready to settle down, or maybe you're not sure if you're willing to date somebody and not have any sort of, idea of whether or not this person is ready to commit or not. Because that could be that too, right? Like, you're ready to stabilize, settle down. You're ready to just kind of be like, nah, I'm not trying to float. I'm not trying to play the game. I'm trying to be real. I'm trying to be, putting down, the roots. But I feel like you guys also understand too that, that kind of like this sort of mindset is great when you guys have gotten to know the person a lot more and start to understand, or start to, have a, get to a better place with this person. I think it was hard at first to kind of think that, being in a relationship was a good idea. I think it was kind of hard for you guys in the beginning, maybe with the Eight of Swords, because of course, right? You want to stabilize. You don't want to play games. You do not want to play games. The Queen of Pentacles don't want to play games. So I feel like you guys may have been like, I don't think I should do anything regarding dating because people just want to play. And I don't want to get to know somebody without the guarantee of somebody stabilizing. I don't want to be that person that puts in all the work with the Eight of Pentacles, because I'm planning to do that and then turn around that this person's not being serious. But I feel like this understanding is just, I feel like the Eight of Swords is really, breaking from the past and moving into here. I think this was like the realization that this is like, of course, a lot of the things that you've been through talking, right? All the stuff that you've because look around you, it's not just that the swords are surrounding the person, they're also behind the person mostly, right? You have that gap right there in the middle where you could walk free and do all that stuff. So I feel like the stuff that you are, that's focusing, the main focus of as to why you were trapped here, has to do with everything that's in the past, everything that you've been through before. You've been hurt before, you've been tried before, you've had to stand by your own truth. You've been through a lot of mess. So you obviously know what you're looking for in regards to a relationship. I just feel like the trial period may not have been so flexible at the time, but now you realize that this is just, this is how you were thinking because you've been through some stuff. You've been through enough madness to feel like you shouldn't probably entertain dating or entertain some sort of relationship at all because you don't know if someone's going to be serious. But I feel like now you understand, like, hey, or you're conscious of, hey, I got to know this person before I go ahead and step my roots down. This person's got to be worthy of me, right? This person has to know my value, see my value. This may also indicate that this is an Aries, Sagittarius, or a Leo in your present. Usually Sagittarius first, considering that this is the card for Sagittarius, the Knight of Wands, having fun, being true to the self, getting bored easily. But I feel like you guys are focusing a lot more on the fun aspect, which will help you to figure out who is really for you, if that makes sense. A lot of passion here, but I feel like most importantly, guys, that you guys are able to have more fun with this because you no longer live by what your experiences were and what your thought processes were regarding a certain situation, regarding stability, regarding support in your relationships, regarding anything that has anything to do with grounding. So that's why I feel like when you go into the moon energy, this is a lot of compassion, a lot of patience, a lot of, yes, facing those fears and insecurities perhaps, but I feel like you could approach it with a different perspective. You approach it from an area of groundedness. You're going into a Pisces energy as a Virgo, and that's awesome. I'm not saying you guys are Virgos now, but I'm just saying that, this is the energy, you're taking, well, this is Capricorn energy, really. But seriously, you come into it being the opposite in a sense, or, having some sort of grounded energy regarding something that's really woo-woo, you know what I mean? Now, what's the advice? The Knight of Cups. Focus on what you want to do, right? Focus on what you love. Focus on what you feel, be aware with how you feel. Be in the moment with how you feel. And if it changes, it changes. It's all right because we're still in immutable energy, right? We're still in Gemini. At this point, there's no need to worry about any of that. There's no need to worry about anything, in regards to, settling down. I think we have all Cancer to figure that out. But I feel like the biggest thing here is, the Knight of Cups, being true to how you feel, being true to what you desire. Focusing on what you want to desire. And I feel like too with the Knight of Cups is that, considering you got two knights here, and the Knight of Wands is one of the fastest knights. I personally don't see the Knight of Wands as the fastest. I see that as the Knight of Swords, because that, if you see him, he'd be sprinting. He's just prancing around, like, jogging. Not really fast in the sense of like lightning speed like the Knight of Swords, in my opinion. But he's fast enough, right? He's very fast compared to the Knight of Cups, right? he could be focused on something for so long, kind of absorbed in it, that, you know, but then something may catch his attention and he'll be absorbed in that. So you know, faster than the Pentacles energy. But I feel like this is about really letting yourself get absorbed in what you want to do, how you feel. Be romantic, have fun, not necessarily take things too seriously. Because I feel like too, even though this is great to be grounded and stuff like that, especially when the moon is like in the future like this, and you've been going through some stuff with your mind in the past, or how you feeling, how you thinking, and you know how you've been experiencing life regarding limitations that you may have felt like you had on, you know, that people had on you and you had on yourself or whatever. This is good, but I feel like don't let yourself be so serious right now, because this is all about getting a better idea as to what you want, and honestly continuing that exciting, passionate energy towards what your goal is in the first place, right? Whatever you're working hard at. Because, you know, if you start to take it in a very serious route, which I'm not saying you guys can't, but it does kill the vibe a little. You know, it'll kill the vibe for you, not for anybody else. It'll just kill you, like, because it'll get boring, right? It'll get boring. Like the Queen of Pentacles shows, like, this is not necessarily your energy. I like this energy for y'all, considering this we're in, you know, like I said, a very changeable area. I like that for you, but at the same time, you guys are, you guys may be feeling bored sometimes. And, you know, I feel like the thing is that you're worried about getting bored, or maybe you're worried about feeling like this is work instead of having fun. Continue on focusing on what you enjoy, right? And I feel like, because that's what the Knight of Cups does. That's why he always, you know, I mean, that's why the Knight of Wands, you know, is so, I want to, successful probably isn't the word, because the Knight of Wands, he don't care about success. He just cares about what he enjoys. And, you know, he cares about what he experiences the most. The Knight of Cups, you know, cares about what he wants to feel. And you focus on that, everything will come into place. That will help you focus, right? If you focus on what you want, focus on what you feel, focus on what, you know, how you feel in the moment, what feels right in the moment. That's automatic, right? It's just pretty much the Eight of Pentacles, except, you know, the thing is that you're doing what you want to do, and it's easy because you're not trying to do what you want to do. Does that make sense? It's like if you know, continuing to focus on you, focus on what was fun, is automatically, from what the Knight of Cups saying, it's automatically you're going to be doing the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Pentacles. You're going to automatically do it because it's just, you enjoy it, right? You're so absorbed in it. You're so enthralled in it. It's going to be easy for you to do. Now, why is your external energy the Seven of Wands, right? may have to pull a clarifier for that, because we got the clarifying deck right here. So, but anyway, Seven of Wands is coming up in your external energy with this Knight of Wands. That's why I thought this was maybe somebody coming in, and this was like you guys, right? Ready to settle down, ready to be serious, and this person's like, yeah, I'm having fun, but you're like, I don't know about this. I think this person may be appearing that they have a lot of fun, but you have to trust that this person may or may not just, you know, be ready for a relationship. But I don't think this situation is like, hey, don't rush it. Keep it, you know, slow down, chill out. I personally feel like this situation is saying here that this person, there's defensiveness regarding this person, or this person is defensive with you, and it makes you feel like they're flighty. And there's like a whole kind of cosmic, whole colossal crazy, right? I feel like this person's defensive through their, and they're expressing their defensiveness through their excessive dramatic need for expressing freedom. So it could be that they just don't want to be tied down. Maybe this person is very similar to you, right? Maybe they've gone through some crazy stuff in their past and they don't feel like they should either rush the situation, or they feel like, they are worried about stabilizing because they put a lot, into it, right? When the Queen of Pentacles sees something of great value, she puts her all into it. She doesn't half-ass it. She doesn't quarter-ass it. She puts the whole fucking ass in there. So, excuse me for my cussing so much, but hey, that's just me. But anywho, I feel like that's what happened. I feel like this person may have had that situation happen with them. This person may have gone through and put their all into something, and then they got backstabbed, or they may have gotten hurt in some areas. And this is why, in the way they express themselves, is through the freedom, right? They just don't want to be tied down. They don't want any commitment, or they act like they don't want a commitment. But I feel like this person, I don't know. I'm coming from what I'm seeing from this reading. This person may legitimately don't want to read it, may legitimately not want to be in a relationship, and that's cool too. And I don't want to put any thoughts in people's mind like, oh, this person's faking, this person's lying, because this person, you have to take it at face value. This is what the Queen of Pentacles does. She takes things at face value. What is in front of you? What do you have to work with in front of you right now? And that is what it is. This person wants freedom. You may want freedom. You just want to have fun. Or maybe, they just want to have fun. But I kind of feel like with the Seven of Wands, wherever this is directed to and whoever has this energy, they have their walls up because they don't know if this is something that's actually going to get them to this, the Queen of Pentacles. I mean, the whole situation is about stabilizing. The whole situation is about feeling grounded, like in, solid. Or this person is done with being bored out of their mind because they've been working so goddamn hard. They want to have more. They want to have more fun because they've been stressing out, focusing on what they needed to do. Overindulging, or not overindulging, but just swamped with a bunch of, responsibility and stuff like that. There could be you or the other person, but the whole situation here with the Knight of Wands, that this person is showing that they want to be free. They are free, but they're doing it in a defensive way. That's just me. It could be that you guys are doing this because you guys are not necessarily sure if this person is actually serious about moving forward. Right? But it doesn't matter what the other person thinks, right? Because at the end of the day, you will always find the person that matches your vibration. If it ain't this person, it'll be the next person, right? So it's like, that's why it says follow your heart, follow your vibration, follow what it is that you want to do. Because if you want to do this and you just I don't know this person's intentions, you don't need the person's intentions to go ahead and move forward. Just take the leap of faith. Trust. The moon is right here. It may turn out wonderful. It may turn out that this person may not want to have anything to do with you, or may not have anything to do with that kind of situation. Maybe they always want to be friends. Either way, you will survive it, and you will find someone that matches that vibration. It's about making your intentions clear. And the moon is not a very clear energy, but the only way you survive it, I feel like, is by being the Knight of Cups, knowing what you are looking for, following your intention, following with your heart. Following what's true for you. Are you ready for a relationship? If you are, then make it happen, right? Go ahead and extend that cup. Be open. If this person's like, I'm too free for this, then it is what it is. Right? They're missing out on an awesome relationship. But that's at the same time, that's their path and you have a path to get to. You might find the right person. But you have to focus on it first. You have to be serious about it. Well, you have to just at least be, considering it, right? Now, your hopes and fears is the Five of Cups. I like this. I know. You're like, what the fuck? Why would I like the Five of Cups in the hopes and fears? Why would I fear losing everything? Well, it's not necessarily about the fear of loss. I don't get the fear of loss with this one. I kind of hope that this relationship does. I kind of feel like what this is saying is that the relationship actually, despite what's not necessarily there, can be made up through looking at what can be done between the two. The Two of Cups. That's why I was thinking there was more than one person in here. Obviously, there's like 3 court cards. But I feel like more importantly, the Two of Cups in this reading, or this card with the hopes and fears, is actually like communicating that the Two of Cups, like you hope that this situation, despite everything that everybody's been through, there can be a relationship here. I feel like you hope to be able to move on with this person, or be able to have a relationship with this person despite what you've already gone through. Like, I feel like these two are really tied. Like I said, you've been through so much. This is why a lot of the thoughts were coming up, making you feel trapped. This is the situation that you're in where you want to be free, truly free, and have a new beginning, have a new start. What's interesting to me is that where it's lining up is another five of swords, where you're just going to have to kind of, well, you don't have to do anything, but this energy is really about staying with your truth, right? Standing by your truth, not letting anything compromise it, or compromising it for the sake of a relationship, or for the sake of the people that you love around you. Because sometimes we can be so doggone focused on what we want to do, what we want, that we end up, kind of driving the people away, right? Are we so focused on this that is, that we don't have a relationship anymore? We don't have friendships anymore. Well, that's just kind of like the base meaning for this. It's not all of it. It's like a piece of it. It's not all of it. But I feel like what this is saying with the outcome is that you have you have to. I always say that. I'm sorry. You don't have to do anything. But I feel like the Five of Swords and the Knight of Cups is very similar, because they both focus on what they want. However, other people have different views, different points of view. Oh, excuse me, I always said that. They have different points of view, different ways of seeing things, different ideas of how to achieve things, different boundaries. Like, they have a lot of things that are different. And the thing with the Knight of Cups is that he's always going to focus on what he wants to do. He's always going to focus on what he wants. He's never going to consider anyone else's other, stuff unless it's something that intrigues him, right? If it truly intrigues him, like the Knight of Wands, like he'll give it a shot. He'll see how it is. He'll look at it. But if it's outside of the range of what he is actually passionate about doing, he ain't going to do it. So I feel like with the Five of Swords, right, this situation here and the outcome may be talking about there may be like a situation where you had just, there is something you stand by, or someone else, something else that someone else stands by. And it doesn't necessarily put you at odds. It doesn't have to if you're not very serious about what it is that you want. If you are serious about what it is that you want, it may put you at odds, or it may put you in a situation where you have to decide whether or not this relationship is something that's, either worth fighting for and compromising your dream, or vice versa. Because usually the Five of Swords talks about sacrifices too, right? It's sacrifices. What are you willing to sacrifice to get to what you want to get to? Is your goal, is your intention that important to you, that's serious to you, that you may, that you'll do anything necessary to get it? Is your dream good enough? Is your desire for this person, strong enough to go ahead and advance in it? Is your ideal for love more important than trying to see how things go with someone that's not necessarily on that whole I'm sure about moving forward thing? If they're just kind of unsure all the time, right? Because I feel like, I don't think it's you guys that are confused. Not necessarily. I feel like you're dealing with somebody else that's confused, and they put you in a confusing situation. And then here it's like, well, I know what I want. Do you know what you want? And they're like, I don't know. And it's like, well, I know what I want. Do you continue to go with this person that doesn't know what they want, or do you go out and you can, you know what you want, and go find the person that matches that cup? And I think that's probably why the Five of Cups is coming up too, right? Okay, so again, that brings back to the hopes and fears. The five of cups. Perhaps there is a fear that you may lose this person, or maybe you hope to get rid of this individual. Who knows, right? This is all about it's all about perspective and what resonates with y'all. But the situation is this: it's like either you guys are like that the situation may not I don't know if you guys know the situation won't move forward, or you have a fear that the situation won't be able to move forward. But I feel like it's all about taking a chance and just kind of putting yourself out there, right? Saying like, hey, this is what I want. This is what I'm in for. I'm not really looking for anything else. And giving the other person the opportunity to either say they're ready to go or say they're not. That doesn't mean it's the end all be all, because you do have another cup behind you. You always have two cups left behind you, right? Even though you may, if this person just outs it, then you always have something to go back to, or there's always something else there, right? You just have to look for it. You have to turn around for it. You have to be open to it, right? That's all it is. So I guess the biggest things too is don't limit yourself to what the possibilities are, because you don't know what the possibilities are, right? Especially with someone's free will, and especially considering why this person is the way they are and why you may be the way you are. There's so many other possibilities. It's not necessarily about limiting those, because I think you already you got out of that whole limiting ideal anyway. You're all about seeing things from a bigger picture. You're taking the Sagittarius route, which is good. Which is great. It's helping. This is one of those things where it's like, well, the bigger picture will also help you to gain more faith. Do you have enough faith to trust that to trust that what you want can be found with either the person that you have currently or the person, or someone else? Is your dream, important enough to you? Like, I think the biggest question of always to ask yourself is the dream important enough to you to continue to move on, or to continue to stand by it? Or is the love for this person strong enough to compromise what you truly want? That's a really big question. And nobody can answer that, because there's no right or wrong answer for that. Because, hey, I'm living in a situation right now where I'm kind of caught in between two worlds, trying to figure out what I want to do. So I am in no position to judge, and no position to be telling y'all how you should go about living your life.